as well. So we're live.
It's the green room behind the scenes.
Right behind the scenes.
Everybody doesn't have to know the truth. Everyone doesn't have to know it. Now we get a chance to get down to the real conversation,
Yes,
the nitty gritty.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? We are back like we never left before. Me and your favorite MC, Mr. Stan Pearson II. Man, Stan, how you doing today?
Can't complain. I'm pretty good. The sun is shining again here in Atlanta, so super happy about that. Outside of the pollen, see, the Southerners, we were making fun of people having to shovel snow, and now we are digging our way out of pollen. But aside from that, I'm beautiful, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. It was funny because I was out and about, and I was just saying to myself, I need to put my mask on. I took a trip up to Santa Barbara. It's a bit different than San Diego. Man, I got up there, and I was just like, did I just contract COVID? Because it was hard for me to breathe. But it was my allergies that was acting up. So, I was like, having a hard time. I was like, okay, it's just my allergies. I'm good. I thought I'd take some Claritin. Shoot, I'm good. So now I'm back. Man, I'm feeling great. Like, I'm here. I'm alive. Ashley is here. We got some great stuff. Got a great episode. So, hey.
Per usual, now it's time to get this thing going.
Hello.
Officially. Let's go. So, welcome to Game Beyond the Game presents Talk That Talk, inspiring conversation with professional athletes, where we inspire our audience as we explore finding vision and purpose in life as we discuss tools to overcome life's transitions with those elite athletes. I am Stan Pearson II, your MC, joined with founder Prince Danils Jr. officially for the tape. Prince, how you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Cool. Anytime and always glad you're doing so well. And now for the moment you all have always been waiting for, we get to introduce our dope guest, like the rock stars she absolutely is. Ashley Battle is a former professional basketball player drafted by the Seattle Storm in 2005 and then finished her WNBA career with the New York Liberty. All right. Growing up in Pennsylvania, where she resides now, started playing basketball at an early age with her cousins and early on. She often found herself the only girl on the boys' basketball team, which helped her forge her path to play at the University of Connecticut. You all know what it is. All right. Now, focus on entrepreneurship. Ashley worked with the NBA Basketball Operations Associate Program, which was created to prepare former NBA and WNBA players to pursue career opportunities in team management positions, and is now working as an associate product line manager at Nike. We don't play no games. Wherever you are, clap your hands, stomp your feet for Ashley Battle. Ashley, how are you doing officially?
Just do it.
I am fantastic. How are you guys?
That's dope. See, guy, look at you, cool as the other side of the pillow. Shout out Stuart Scott. I love it.
R.I.P.
Heck yeah, always. Great to have you. So you're doing fantastic as always, as it seems. Let's hop right into it. Basketball, you mentioned at a young age, you're always playing with boys, and that allowed you to just better yourself. Did you fall in love with basketball early?
Or did it fall in love with you?
It was kind of both. I think my family played and all my friends played, and I was really tall in the fifth grade, like fourth and fifth grade. I was probably like 5'6", 5'7" in the fifth grade.
Really?
Yeah, I was huge. And I wore the same size shoes as I do right now, which is a 10.5 men in the fifth grade.
What?
You went through some things.
My mom never had the opportunity of buying like kid shoes. I went straight from like great like toddlers to like adult sizes, like adult men sizes.
If you don't mind me asking, that's going to take me in a little bit of a different direction. What was that like for you? Because I know sometimes, certainly in early grade years, kids are silly, stupid, say all kind of things that can hurt out of ignorance or just being mean. Right. What was that like being 5'6" in the fourth, fifth grade, or wearing a size 10 at that age? Did that have any effect on you moving forward, or what things do you think you had to work through at that time?
There are kids who, there's a couple things that happen. So some of my counterparts and my classmates, they were tall too. So I had like a really tall class. So there were some females that were kind of tall, and then like some of the guys were really tall too. But then also, like, I got these hands, so like, talk something if you won't.
Catch these.
Catch me outside if you want
Catch
to.
me outside. You catch these hands.
Catch me outside.
You know, I did. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I did get to spend it a couple times in elementary schools for, you know,
Yeah, putting the paws on them. That's what
putting
they call
paws on people.
It's funny. I tell folks, in my entire life, I've never heard of a bully leaving someone alone because they asked him to leave them alone. Sometimes I've heard you got to get people up off you.
Hey, you just gotta defend yourself sometimes, and sometimes defending
Definitely
yourself, some
true.
people do it with words.
Yep. Some people
I
do it
was
with hands.
say it again.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Like, do you know your granddad? What you mean? Yo, Paw, because I'm about to put these on you.
Paws on you. I was like, you must not know who my mother is. My mom had these hands too, so apple don't fall far from the tree.
Wow, that's awesome.
I
So,
love it.
when you were young, did you take classes, like self-defense classes, boxing classes as well? You just knew how to scrap?
No, I just knew how to scrap, man.
Mm.
Like, you know, I did karate for like, I don't know, like a couple months or something like that, and I didn't really stick with it because I was playing basketball. But no, man, I'm from a area in Manchester where like everyone knows how to fight. So like, and I was probably one of the. I mean, I fought the dudes, I fought chicks. I mean, I was like,
man,
and I'm like so nice, and I'm over here like, what? Say it again. Like, I would defend people who couldn't defend themselves. Like, I was out here, you know, just.
He's the hero.
Being for the people, being out here for the people, you know. And sometimes, like, there were bullies too. Like, some of the older kids would, you know, say some things. I've had my shares where I had to go home with my tail tucked between my legs, and you know, my mom was just like, just not having it, you know.
Right. She's like, get out there and fight again. But like, Mama, hold on, we good.
I mean, we went out there, and it's crazy because like I'm still friends. Like, we're all still friends. So it's not like it was like one of those things. Okay, like you guys are gonna fight right now, but we're all 10 minutes later, we're all gonna be friends and playing hide and seek or something like that. So it wasn't, you know, anything that got completely out of hand. But it ended up, you know, we're all better for it. Actually, we all got tough kids growing up, and you know, had strong minds, strong willed. Like I wouldn't trade it for the world. Actually.
That's such a beautiful thing because you know that's the level of respect, right? After you duke it out with someone, y'all hug and y'all become best of friends because it's that level of respect. Like, wow, okay, or they put it on me, or that was a good match. They gave it all. So now let's be friends because we already know that it's not going to turn out well if we fight. So let's just figure out, you know, what we can do to make everything better. And that's a beautiful thing that you all are friends now, and it molded you into the person that you are. You know, talk about childhood, how it helps us grow. I love the thing that you said that you are very proud of you know, your upbringing and where you come from. You know, can you can you give us like what was your transition like from middle school to high school?
Yeah, absolutely. So my transition is kind of interesting because I don't think it was normal. It's definitely not normal, especially for like a inner city kid. Is very similar to like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know. So I mean, I didn't get in a fight, and you know, my mom wasn't like, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel-Air." It wasn't exactly like that, but the process was kind of similar. So like in the 7th grade, I my basketball coach was told about a school in Wheeling, West Virginia called Lindsley, and you know, I went down there, I took the admissions test, and actually, this is 6th grade going into 7th grade. And so I took the admissions test, and I'm like, I don't want to wear a uniform. I don't want to go. I don't want to be away from my friends. I don't want to, you know, be away from home because I would have to like live down there during the week. And then going into 8th grade, I took the admissions test, the same thing. Like, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to do, you know, any of that. And then same thing going into 9th grade. And I had, you know, I was pretty talented at basketball, and you know, there were a lot of high schools in the city in Pittsburgh that were, you know, looking to have me come to their school. It was almost like a recruiting frenzy in high school as well.
Right.
And so my mom was just like, "Look, you know, if you don't want to stay down there, you don't have to stay. Like you can always leave." And and when she said that, it just registered and clicked, and I was like, okay, you're right. I don't have to stay. And it wasn't like they had the greatest basketball program known to mankind or anything like that. The basketball program was trash, and they were like a really great school academically. 100% of the students, not necessarily attended college, but 100% got accepted to college. And, academically, it was top notch. So it was one of those things where I felt like athletically and then academically, I was meeting in the same space. So I left, went to boarding school, and just a whole different environment, whole different everything. And I'm happy that I did it. It was like one of the best decisions that I made in my life. I still have a lot of connections, a lot of friends down there. It's difficult, being in the 8th grade, going to boarding school, and not being with your family, especially, and your friends. But it was a learning experience, and it taught me how to navigate through a lot of different things that you have to do when you become an adult. And my principal, well, they had a different term for principal. Like, a lot of private schools have a different term for principal, and I absolutely hate it. And my mom was like, "You will never say that," and I will never be caught saying that. And she would have never said it either, but she told me specifically, "You will not call them." So the term for principal is like headmaster. And like in private schools, like it's like headmistress and headmaster. And so my mom was just like, "I bet you won't." 'Cause she is my mom is highly educated. I would venture to say borderline genius, and she is just not with the shits. I know we said we weren't going to cuss, but hey,
No, it's okay.
I'll allow it. I love it.
And my mom is just not. She's just not with the shits. So
Right.
like, I never called my principal headmaster. He's always been a principal. And but he was such a great guy, and he and I still have a great relationship to this day. But he would lecture me in high school every day. Every day I would get lectured. He would just grab me and just like have me in a headlock and just like take me down the hallway, and he'd be like, "Look, you're the only person that could screw this up. You have a great future ahead of you. Like, unfortunately, you have to be a lot more mindful around your situation than others, because you have a lot more to lose than anybody else here." And so he would literally, and I'm talking like a old white guy, military guy, white. He went to like Kiski, which is a white male prep school. I mean, they have a little bit of like black kids there now, but like not too many. Yeah, it's sprinkled in. Even my high school, you got a couple peppered in there too. But he knew, he knew the potential in me, and he saw what could be, and he would just, make sure that I didn't screw it up in high school.
Wow. So it's interesting that you were able to pick those things up. And outside, I know you mentioned your mom a lot and kind of what she instilled, her level of intellect. That's amazing. One thing that I caught that I really admire, you said, "Hey, I was pretty talented in XYZ." What I'm finding is that folks they shy away from their talent, but are willing, or shy away from what they're great at, but are willing to accept all their deficiencies. So for you to be like, "No, I was pretty talented at that." Where did that come from? And is that something that you've always had? Like, hey, this is where I rock out at, and I'm not going to play small to make someone else feel comfortable.
Right. I think I am a extremely humble person, or at least so I've been told. And, but I've come to the realization that I've done some really great things in my life. And I am extremely talented in multiple things, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. And it's if other people feel some type of way, that's their problem. Like, that's not my issue. That is all their problem, and their insecurities and their projection, and them trying to project something on me that has nothing to do with me. So like, I can't. It is what it is. Like, I can't say that you know, I was very talented at a very young age. Like my first college letter was in the 7th grade. You know what I mean? So like I knew I was gonna get that scholarship to go to school. Like it is what it is. You know what I mean? And and I'm not gonna shy away from that anymore.
Love it.
Such a beautiful thing, because a lot of our young kids, they go through that, right? And as Stan mentioned, you don't want to live into that, but it's like an undeniable fact. Like it's the facts, the proof is in the pudding. And so basically you just learn how to lean into it and just be all the person that you are. I'm pretty sure your mother helped foster that as well. She was just like, this is who you are, and this is what you've accomplished. This is who you're going to be. So lean into that, live into that.
Yeah. It's funny that you should say that. So I had a conversation with her earlier today, and she's just like, I was talking about you today at work, and I was like, about what? You know what I mean? Like, all right. And she was like, I was talking about your accomplishments, and I was like, okay, so random. And she's like, you've done a lot. And I'm like, I know, crazy, right? Like, but it's awesome, and it's like, man, crazy. And at the same time, it's like I forget, and when it comes up in conversation, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I did, you did have some really great times doing that or something like that.
That's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Again, you're cool, calm, confident, put together. You smile.
I mean, if
cool.
you'd have told me like 10 minutes ago, though, like about 20 minutes prior, you'd have been like, I don't know. It's amazing what a shower and a flat iron can do.
People underestimate the value of a shower. Just taking some time.
They do. Take some time for yourself.
Right.
So all those moments, and let's say as well as let's say from the outside, people have seen like, whoa, got it put together, smile, just see. I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, humble before, all those things being true. What was one of the most difficult times during your transition? You've had a couple of them. What would you say one of your most difficult transitions has been?
I've had a few, I mean, I guess we could just talk about them all, but okay.
Sure.
Or I'll ask this. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'll ask this. Did you find it a difficult time transitioning from college to the league, or was it from high school into college? Which one was the most difficult one?
I would say high school to college.
And why is that?
More difficult because, again, it wasn't like my high school was this huge powerhouse high school. I mean, we may do what we had, but again, we weren't like a team that was like IMG that goes around the country playing like other top high schools. I played on a very, very, very talented AAU team. I mean, we were bananas talented, like we won, we were the number 1 team in the country as 12-year-olds, like came in like 3rd place pretty much for the rest of that time. Our top 7 went D1, like very, very, and we're just all like Pittsburgh kids. Right. So like very, very talented group of players. So I learned a tremendous amount from the 5th grade basketball team, that coach, my AAU coach, my high school coach, I learned some things from, but it was mainly like my AAU coach and my high school coach. I'm sorry, my AAU coach and my 5th grade coach. And so, you have like a really good base and really good fundamentals and stuff like that, but you just don't know how to work hard. And that transition, when you go from high school to college, you got to learn how to work hard, and so pretty much now I'm going to a team that just came off of winning a national championship with everybody coming back. And it's like, how are you going to fit in? Right. And I'm coming in with the number 1 class in the country, like Diana Taurasi, myself, like Jessica Moore, Morgan Valley, Maria Conlon. Like my mom just showed me a paper, a news article. She has like random stuff like tucked away. And she goes, I like to give you stuff for your throwback for your Throwback Thursdays.
She's amazing.
And it's so funny. And so she literally pulled out this like original news article of like the parade All-Americans from my senior year.
Wow.
And it was just like all these people that I played with throughout the years. And then there was 4 of us that went to UConn on that list. And so like, you know, we were a talented group coming in, but at the same time, it's like you don't know how to work hard and you're going against people who are, you know, 4 years older than you that's been in the system. And you got to figure it out, you know, and Gino's not.
He doesn't make it easy to figure out.
Right. I mean, he's tough. He's tough on you. Happy birthday, Coach. Today's your birthday. What's up?
We knew that. We knew that.
Right. Shout out to Coach. What up?
Coach, what's going on?
But like he's tough. He's tough on you, and you know your teammates. They help you out. But you got to learn how to work hard. And so I think, you know, you have an inclination as to how to play, or you wouldn't have been recruited to go there. But then you even learn more about the game and this and the other. And then when you go and play in the league, you're like, I'm prepared.
Right. Exactly. Right. Right.
What was something that, you know, Coach Orema taught you, or that you learned that helped you, let's say, in life and in the game? Is there anything specific that you feel like you picked up? Because obviously you learn the most from people who are tough on you. So is there anything that you picked up along the way that kind of rests with you from time to time?
Well, I'll tell you a story. There's a couple things. Like one, it's, you know, when you work hard and you prepare, you know, you're ready, you know, and I think that's one of the things that we did so well at UConn is like we worked so hard, you know, that games were just easy. And I think like that translates into anything that you do, you know, whether you're doing a podcast, whether you're working at Nike, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just translates. Like if you're prepared, you know your opponent and you know the task at hand. You know the options that is going to be thrown at you, and you're able to adjust on the fly and you're able to move and maneuver. And so when you have all of that, it's just like you feel confident. You're confident in your abilities and what you do. So that's why you see the UConn walking in all the time, like, yeah, maybe a little bit of arrogance and a little bit of cockiness, but they're prepared. They're prepared.
It comes with the
territory. You know what's going to happen.
Right.
You know what's going to happen.
You know
you're prepared.
Oh,
you know what's going to happen.
I thought you were talking about the other team. Like, you know what's going to happen. You know,
they know what's going to happen.
That's true.
There's that too, but like you know, like if when they pass the ball here, it's gonna go there. It's gonna go there. Like you know what's gonna happen. And so when like we used to beat the crap out of teams that had no imagination. You know what I mean? So like, because they didn't know what to do when you take something away.
Ooh.
Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I want to highlight.
This is about to be a 50-point game.
I want to highlight that. I want to highlight that. That was so powerful, right? Because as kids, we have this incredible imagination, but when we become adults, we tend to lose it because we're in these roles. We play in these roles. But it seems like from your story that you were sharing, once you reach that level of hard work and you've done all the work, then there's no more room left for you to do anything else except tap into your imagination and use it. Because what I've realized is that, you know, you reach this ceiling and it's just like, all right, well, what's next? So what's next? And it's that imagination, that intuition that, you know, now that I've seen every single thing on the surface level. So now I want to elevate myself and see more, because think about it. You're playing with these elite players and you guys come together and you win the championship. Speaking of championship, you know, how does it feel to win the championship? I'm going to come back to that. But like, just using your imagination is incredible, and I just want to highlight that. Like, can you just dive in a little bit deeper when you mention imagination? Can you expound on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's with anything. Like I feel like in life in general, Like I really do feel like this, like about life. Like you're given a set of parameters, you know. So let's just take basketball as an example. So you run the play, and you're like, okay, yeah, the play is supposed to go like X, Y, and Z. It's supposed to go like that. You pass here, then you cut, and then you pass here, then you get the ball on the other side. But then there may be something that you could take advantage of, that you see that you can exploit. And so you have to be you have to have your eyes open to see those things. And I always say this, I am a religious person. I have my beliefs or whatnot, and I just believe that like God presents opportunities, and it's just up for you to take those opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities that are presented to you. And I feel like sports and life is just no different in that. So if you're running a play and you see an angle or an opportunity that you're like, oh, you know what? I can take advantage of this. You know, like your feet are off, and I can take advantage of this and get a layup. You know, and I think, you know, life is no different. You know, we Clubhouse presented an opportunity for people to meet and network, and look at us. Now we're here talking to each other. So it's just one of those things where you can, you know, you see different opportunities, you want to investigate and see what it's about, and use your imagination to probably bridge that gap to get you to point A and to point B. And now I get to tap into my imagination all the time with Nike. It's just like, oh, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. What do I want to do? You know? And so it's like I get to be like a huge kid in a candy shop, really. And so it's just a lot of fun.
It's dope. You know, the power of questions, kind of what you were just saying. If someone asks, so what do you want to do? And, you know, questions like, are you willing, or what do you want to do next? How powerful do you believe questions to be? Sometimes I feel like, you know, that people don't ask themselves questions enough throughout the day to kind of light that fire of imagination in them. So how powerful are questions for you? How important do you find them to be?
Very important. Oh, sorry, I hit the desk. We got a little shaky there for a minute. A little earthquake. You know, right? I feel like questions are extremely important, you know, and I think it's just people are shy, especially if you're in like a public setting. People get shy about asking questions, and even sometimes I get shy about asking questions. You know, I'm new in this role. I don't know necessarily everything yet, and I'm willing to learn, but you have to ask questions. And you know what? For me, I right now, like, yes, I am shy in some capacity, and in some capacity, I'm like, I don't care. I may ask you the same question 10 times. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's just like, I don't care if you're upset that I asked you the same question 10 times. Like, apparently, however you explained it, it didn't sink in, you know, and I need it to be explained differently. And usually, like, I'm a rather quick study, but you know, when you're doing something new for the first time, it's just like, you know, you're running a play. You just need a couple repetitions, and then it just, you know, you see it, you see somebody do it, you do it a couple times, and then it sticks, you know? And so like, that's how I've learned, you know, my entire life, you know, being in sports. It's like, all right, I see what they're doing. You're passing there, you're passing there, you're cutting there. Okay, I see that. Then you go out there, and it's like, now it's your turn to run the play. So you go out there and like, all right, yep, I did exactly what they did. You know what I mean? Like, I did exactly what the person in front of me did.
I didn't mess it up.
Then I didn't mess it up. I did exactly what they did. And then once you get, you know, really good at running that, then you can add that imagination, which we were talking about before.
Speaking of, so I'm going to bring it back to a question real quick. So you say questions are important. Stan mentioned it as well. You have something behind you that signifies greatness. And I know that you had an opportunity.
I got a couple things behind me that
I didn't see that.
Right. And so you had an opportunity to meet greatness before greatness left this planet Earth. Right. And I'm alluding to number 2-4 right behind you, that golden jersey. So you had multiple you had multiple encounters with Kobe Bryant, right?
Mm-hmm.
what was some of the questions that you asked him? And probably like, what was your first question? And then what was one question where you were like, yeah, like I really got his attention?
Well, one thing I know for sure is you never know what somebody's going to say unless you ask the question.
Mm.
And so I think that was really like the blossoming of our friendship and our relationship was, you know, he had a book signing in New York. And again, I worked at the NBA league offices and I found out about it. And this was like, so I prophesized that Kobe and I were going to be friends, but that's a whole nother story.
I want to hear
And this,
probably some other time. I love those prophesizing stories, but go ahead with this one.
we'll talk about that offline. We can talk about that offline. And this was like my strike. At this point, this was like strike 3. So there were 2 other encounters where we were in the same space and same time, and I didn't go over or something happened. But this was strike 3 for me. I was like, and so I'm like, all right, well, I get to the NBA store and I'm just like, because the event was actually at the NBA store.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm buying a jersey. Screw it. You know, I'm like, I was like, I don't care what they say. You know, somebody's gonna say, actually, you shouldn't ask them to sign it, but I don't care. What are you gonna do?
Right.
What are you gonna do? You gonna fire me? I'm like, I doubt it, but like, what are you gonna do? So I was like, all right. And so, so they knew like I wanted to talk to him for a little bit. And so when we ended up getting like some space after the book signing and before his next interview, and we were talking a little bit, and the conversation was really great. And I felt comfortable enough to ask him like, "Hey, can you sign this?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, no problem." Like, why was I so nervous to ask that? You know? And so again, like the conversation was still going really well. And I just went over to him and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in LA in 2 weeks. You know, I would love to connect if you're available. And he was like, okay. And so I'm like, all right. you know what I mean? And so, and I'm like, okay, all right, great. And so I'm like, see you in 2 weeks. See you in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So, so like you just never know if you don't ask the question. And so 2 weeks later, I'm in LA and I go practice with the team. I practice with the girls, and I think there is where like we were just like, I think we're like the same person. Like, why are you finishing my thoughts? And why am I finishing your thoughts? Like, this is kind of weird, but I love it. You know, it was just like one of those like encounters where like literally all the stars align and you're just like, man, how have we gone this long without knowing each other? Like really, like it was just like one of those conversations. And you know, I hit it off with the girls really well. And, you know, from there on, there's been some other encounters where I saw him and he's like, when are you coming to LA? When are you coming back? The girls need you. They need you, you know, and just kept hounding me. And I thought I was going to be in LA in January, actually, the month that they end up passing away.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't work out where I was in LA. But it was just, you know, there's not enough that I could say about Kobe. Like first off, Gigi was like his exact replica. And it like freaked me out the first time I saw it because I was just like, dude. And he's like, what? I'm like, she is you. like she is you, and it's freaking me out. And he just starts laughing because it's really funny. And but when I tell you, like the girls were just so sweet, the coaching staff so sweet, parents were just so awesome, and you know, it like they would really just do anything for anybody, you know, at a drop of a dime. Like I think and here's the thing that like I personally regret. You know, we're talking about questions and things like that, and it was, you know, I hit him up around the holidays and was like, I'll talk to you in the new year. And I wanted to talk to him about like things about my future and like get his advice on some things. And I didn't do it. You know, I didn't do it. And so like, you want to talk about like asking questions. There's a huge, you know, question that I didn't do, and who knows where that could have led. And it really sucks not having them, because they were just a great asset to women's basketball. And there's probably not a day that has gone past since that I don't think about them. It's just a really tragic story.
Man, if we can
Thank you
take
for
out
sharing.
yes, thank you for sharing that. If we can take out 5 seconds just to have a moment of silence and just honor that. That was such a beautiful story. We want to give a shout out to the Bryant family and your connections with them. And thank you for sharing that, because I felt that moment and I felt that I was there when you were explaining it. I wanted to close my eyes so I can get a more vivid visual. But
Right.
thank you so much for sharing that. I can feel it in my heart. I wanted to take that 5 seconds just to pay our respect forward for all the incredible things that he did, and know his presence and his family and all the other families that were involved. So, yes,
And
great.
congratulations to you. It's those moments again that you mentioned, like, do I, don't I, do I, don't I? And even in those encounters, shifted the trajectory of, life as you know it in that relationship. So congratulations to you for getting over, whatever doubts those were in the moment, to have that experience. And thank you again for the transparency in sharing it. You seem to, again, you mentioned being a quick study earlier, which I think that's evident, and you continue to be, and someone that appreciates thought. That being said, what's the younger version of you as thoughtful? But beyond that, what advice would you give to the younger version of Ashley?
I would give, I would tell my younger version to, unwavering confidence, to have unwavering confidence in no matter what you do. And, you're gonna make mistakes, but everything's gonna work out. You have a good head on your shoulders, and you're very thoughtful. You think things through, and the decisions that you make moving forward are the right ones. And just keep learning, keep growing, and maybe take a little bit more risk in some things. And but ultimately, it's going to be all right.
Appreciate that. Prince, what thoughts do you have, man? I see you thinking.
Now, do you follow all of that? Because you're still here. Do you
Oh yeah,
follow? Yeah.
I do. Like I still work on the unwavering confidence.
Mm,
But that's like one of the things that like I try to keep in my mental thought, is just having like unwavering confidence. Knowing that like I am thoughtful. I try to think things through. I try to be respectable to others, and I know God's got my back, and things are going to work out the way it should be. And I'm all right with that. Like I don't have any kids. I would like to, but I'm single. It's the way it is right now. It's just the way it is. So like
you heard it from
if
her first. She said that she's single. Hey, we're gonna get you a good candidate. All right. So I just had to throw that in there. I'm sorry. She like Sinclair. She like Sinclair. We are living. Okay, I just had to go in there.
Hey,
Single.
in a
Ladies
90s kind of
kind of
world.
world. You don't know nothing about no living single.
What?
Keep your head up.
Keep your
What?
head
Keep
up.
your head up.
What? Keep your head up.
That's right.
Okay. Well, all right. All right. We're coming to an end, but Ash, on a serious note, what do you want your legacy to look like?
Man, I don't really think I've ever given that any thought.
Mm. So I'm going to drill you like Kobe. Kobe would be like, why not? And it's just like, wow, wow. Was I supposed to think about it? It's just like, well, if you're not thinking about it, then what are you striving for? That's his mindset. So,
For me, it's more along the lines of my legacy is going to play out the way my legacy is going to play out, because I know that like the right decisions, I'm confident in my decision making skills. And, I'm confident in knowing that opportunities are going to get presented in front of me. And sometimes there's going to be more opportunities than I can handle. And sometimes I need to like, bust that thing down. You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things too, where it's like, hey, and by doing the right things up front and doing the right things now, like that's all gonna be in my legacy. And so when people hear the rest of my story, they'll understand that like, oh, that's a pretty damn good legacy that she left behind.
Look, look, you don't even know it, but you're like the best. You're the best. And just kind of like this. Yeah.
No, she knows it. I think, which I love that. I think that, as you mentioned, confidence, it's in the way you spoke of it. It's like, it reminds me that it's a muscle, like the brain, like anything else. So we constantly maybe put ourselves in different positions to practice and to work on that particular muscle to stay sharp, to stay above board in the best version of ourselves. So that's my last, thought for you is, what's next? What's next? And I guess in a part of that, what's next? What makes you just enjoy life and laugh uncontrollably to tears when the moment hits?
Oh, I do laugh uncontrollably all the time. I just think like, why not be happy? I mean, there's just so many things that can really, if you dwell on it, will bring you down. And of course I have my moments when, things happen and I dwell on it, but it like puts me in such a bad mood, and I don't like necessarily being in a bad mood. I don't like that person. I don't like being angry or upset. You know what I mean? I want to have a great time. I want to have good energy. I want to give other people good energy. And um so that's why, and I enjoy being around people who like to laugh and who want to have a great time and who want to work hard and all those things. Like, you could work hard and have a great time as well doing it. And what was the first question? I'm sorry.
No,
You asked
I
another
think,
question.
yeah, but that one works for me. I mean, in terms of
You asked another question.
Yeah,
my other question was, what's next?
Yeah.
You gave
What's
such a
next for
great
me?
answer. I was just rocking with that one. Yeah, but
Yeah.
what's next for you?
Too.
What's next for me? I can very well see myself having a very long career at Nike. And the ultimate goal of mine, the ultimate dream job, my ultimate dream job
Let's do it.
is to be, I want to be able to put teams together. I want to be in the GM front office, putting basketball teams together, whether it's WNBA, NBA. That's where I want to be. And so I have a financial background, I have a marketing background, and I'm doing Nike. This has given me experience with strategies, with building strategies, executing strategies, learning about markets and numbers in a different way. And so I'm just fine tuning my skills and getting prepared to whatever opportunity comes about. Maybe who knows? Like, it could be at Nike, could be back at the NBA, could be on a team. So I'm just keeping my options open, but ultimately just trying to get better every day.
And so it is.
Yep. The prophecy is born yet again.
And so it is.
Hey!
Look, we're speaking it into existence, into right now. So it is.
Cool. Any final thoughts from you, Prince, before we get out of here?
Just my last one. So we spoke about transition. I just want you to give me like a quick answer, or give our audience a quick answer. We spoke about transition. We see that, life is short. We saw with Kobe and Gigi and the other families, how short it is. And when it comes to transition, and we all go through it, how can you give some tips of how you've been dealing with that transition and how you're dealing with the transition internally, from someone that has played a major part in your life and now has transitioned on? Like, how do you deal with it? What are some of the coping mechanisms? Can you just share something?
I mean, transition is, there's so many different transitions that we could be talking about, like I'll touch upon all of them too. I mean, there's the transition of, hey, I've played basketball all my life and now I'm not playing anymore. So there's dealing with that type of transition, like what's next after sports. And that, necessarily wasn't an easy transition for me. I ended my career similarly to a lot of athletes on an injury. And, so it didn't end the way in which I wanted it to end. And my mom actually helped me with that transition as far as like, do you guys remember Guitar Hero?
Yeah.
Yeah, what? If
Okay.
you want to, you can get beat on it.
I'm bad at it. Horrible.
Okay, so
I'm bad
Guitar
like
Hero.
Michael on it.
Guitar Hero. I'm in my mom's living room and I'm like playing Guitar Hero and she's looking at me in like disgust. Like she's like looking at me kind of crazy. And so I'm like, I'm done. I put it up and I'm like, what? And she's like, well, why don't you play a real guitar? And I was like, fine. And she's like, fine. And so I went out that day and I bought a real guitar and started taking guitar lessons. And we started taking guitar lessons together, which really helped focus my mind on something else, and helped me out of that transition of, you're not playing basketball anymore. You're a civilian. you're a civilian now. So you need to like do civilian things. And so like that was one of the transitions that really helped me in the process of in the mental process of dealing with not playing basketball anymore, because it is a strenuous process and you have to deal with it. Hopefully people will hopefully other athletes will start thinking about that transition while they're still playing and while they still have all the connections and while people want to be around you, because that's just really important. Because when you're playing, everybody wants to be a part of you, and everyone wants a piece of you. So who do you want to have a piece of? You have access to do whatever you want. It's just a matter of like you picking out who you want to talk to, and they'll talk to you. And then when you talk about like the transition of a loved one, so to speak, and 2020 was just rough all the way around. I mean, it started off with me having hip surgery in January. Then Commissioner Stern passed away. Then Kobe passed away. Then my uncle passed away. Then my mom's best friend passed away. I mean, this is all before March 10th. You know what I mean? And so like it was just a wave of just it just kept coming. It just kept coming. And then the whole world shut down. So it wasn't, so you had like all these different things that happened, and then the world was like, chill. You know what I mean? And so to deal with those things as well, it's just like you have to, for me, I had to keep my faith. And I understand like these are things, I understand that things happen, accidents happen. And I understand that like, and accidents happen and sometimes they're fatal, and you don't want it to happen, but they do, and then there's life happens, people get sick, and people transition because they weren't healthy enough to cope with the events that's happening within their body. And then you have things that just randomly happen to healthy people, and this was everything that happened. You got Kobe with accidents happening and sometimes that they're fatal. My uncle who wasn't healthy enough to cope with the events that was happening with his body. And then you have my mom's best friend who is perfectly healthy and died, and so like, it was one of those things where it was like okay, I have to be strong for my mom because she just lost her brother and her best friend within 2 days. And so it was, and and it's just being there for my family, relying on them and them helping me. And I have some really great friends. I have really great friends who are super supportive. Like technically I'm the only child. Like my father has other kids, but technically I'm the only child. And so like it's very important for me to have like really, really great friends and really great, my cousins are awesome. And so my support system is fantastic. And I just think it's super, super, super important to have like a great support system, because in times of need, you can lean on them and they will help you, and they will help you get through it. And sometimes you think you can't, and they will either give you a kick in the ass or they'll give you a hug. Whatever one you need, they'll give it to you. So it's just trusting and believing in who you are and the people that you have around you, and knowing that you'll get through it just like you get through everything else.
Drop the mic, Stan. Dropped it. Drop the mic.
Done and done. Thank you. Boom. Drop the kazoo. What you got? Other pick. I know, right? And I just finally
guitar pick.
And I was like, yo, I'm just saying, like, the guitar's on the side of your shoulder.
That's Purple Haze.
What?
Guitar has
a got a name? Jimmy Hendrix style, Purple Haze.
You know it.
You know
That's
what?
my guy, Jimmy.
That is so cool.
We got to talk. We're going to talk after this.
Next time you're on, maybe you'll play us a little something. Maybe so. Maybe. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's so funny. A friend of mine today, he was just like, I don't think I've ever heard you play. I mean, I've heard you tinker.
Tinker.
But bing, bing. I don't think I have, but you've never played a song for me. I'm just like, okay.
The answer that isn't an answer.
Right.
Appreciate
like,
that.
Okay. Maybe I'll play one for you someday.
Super cool. People can learn more about you by checking out on IG. If you're there at Ashley Battle, that's how you find Ashley. If you're looking to learn more about her, follow her journey and learn more about how awesome she is. And maybe one of these days she'll tinker a little bit on the internet, as it were. We'll see.
On the interwebs, we'll see. I don't know.
For sure.
I did put a video up the other day, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's so good!" I'm like, "I am so bad." Like,
I'm going there right after we get out of here. I'm checking you out.
It was in my story. It's gone.
It's going now.
Savage.
Just like an overachiever. Like, I'm not that good. Put it on the story. Gone. Going to 24 hours.
What? 24 hours.
Got to keep them wanting more, Ashley. I'll allow it. Got to keep them wanting more. Appreciate that big time. And officially, thank you, Ashley, for spending some time with us today and sharing your story and being so transparent. It was really a great time. For those of y'all watching, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Prince Danils Jr. YouTube page. And you can join us every week in Game Beyond the Game's Facebook page live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Sam Pearson. Thank you very here first. Have a great day, y'all.
Have a good one, y'all.
Bye.
Peace.